was a victim or target of cyberbullying attacks. I felt depressed, anxious, and developed suicidal thoughts. I live with anxiety every single day.
I tried to take my own life by going out of my 9-story bedroom window.
At the age of 5, I took a knife to my stomach, and at the age of 12, I tried to set my family house on fire.
The number of young people suffering from depression, bullying, and other mental health and behavioral problems is staggering, up to 1 in 5. Many suffer in what I call the 3 S's: shame, stigma, and silence. But awareness and improvement is happening in the public, for governments, and even here at the United Nations. Alexa, I'm depressed.
I'm so sorry you are feeling that way. Please know that you're not alone. There are people who can help you.
This event about applications of artificial intelligence for mental health, co-sponsored by UN member states and my NGO accredited at the United Nations, is one of many recently highlighting the issue. Others addressed achieving poverty eradication, infectious diseases, rural women, challenges women face to achieve economic and political power, and honoring a female Olympian for overcoming cancer. Major international figures are supportive, like the UN Secretary General.
Health encompasses both physical and mental well-being. Yet for too long, mental health has been mostly an afterthought, despite its overwhelming impacts on individuals and communities.
And Her Majesty, the Queen of Belgium, who is a psychologist.
We need to integrate mental health strategies into a broader strategies for building resilience among vulnerable people.
The Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, gave this message at the conference of my NGO accredited at the United Nations, the International Association of Applied Psychology.
In Budget 2017, we included major support for mental health initiatives across Canada. We're committed to fighting stigma and helping people across the country get the mental health care they need.
The UN Mission of Canada, along with Bahrain and Belgium, now head the Group of Friends of Mental Health and Wellbeing, with many UN missions as members, and a partnership with Lady Gaga's Born This Way Foundation.
I invented myself, Lady Gaga. I curated my life to be an expression of my pain. This is how I overcame my depression.
Many firsts have happened. The first meeting of ministers supporting mental health. The first time mental health was an event during the UN General Assembly. The first time mental health was a topic at Davos, the famous World Economic Forum.
If we could tackle the stigma, that was one thing that would allow these mental health charities to do more of their work and be able to reach more people and allow people to come forward.
The first meeting of professionals in Morocco focusing on children's mental health. And the major global compact on safe, orderly, and regular migration that was adopted by governments in Morocco. Resolutions were passed at the United Nations about universal health coverage, making access to care available to all. And mental health was officially named as the 5th non-communicable disease, along with heart and respiratory diseases, diabetes, and cancer, thanks to efforts of the World Health Organization. The 2018 Lancet Commission released a major report on global mental health and sustainable development. The Second Union of Mental Health Summit in Moscow brought together international mental health leaders, where I delivered the final declaration.
For the benefit of individuals and societies throughout the world. Da? Da.
More attention is being paid to women's issues, with the UN Secretary General promising equal appointments of women to men. More attention to youth, to wellness at work, with the Secretary General's launch of mental health services to the staff. And attention to disabilities in a UN resolution about mental health and disability, and this film debut at the United Nations. Money matters. In the country of Georgia, a major summit was held about innovative financing. And finally, the private sector is stepping up to the plate.
It's a real pleasure to announce today that we are going to commit to an additional £200 million, $260 million over the next few years.
A major trigger for all this was the historic inclusion of mental health and well-being in the UN Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development. Thanks to the campaign of then Ambassador Caleb Otto of Palau and myself, leading the Psychology Coalition of NGOs accredited at the UN and getting support from all the UN member states to put mental health and well-being at the heart of the global goals. Integral to well-being is happiness. Signs like these are popping up publicly to rate if you're happy or not. A meeting about happiness from the perspective of all disciplines was held in St. Louis, and the United Arab Emirates is leading the way, promoting happiness and well-being with the Sheikh's book, the First Minister of Happiness, happiness roundtables at the United Nations, and happiness dialogues at the World Government Summit in Dubai. The theme is celebrated in this song my music partner Russell Daisy and I wrote.
Happy people, happy planet. A baby's born on a perfect morning. That's what I call happiness. A summer shower that comes that morning.